Here's something nobody warns you about. The people who are genuinely building real wealth right now don't feel wealthy. They wake up, go through their routine, and do the same small, unglamorous things they did yesterday. No celebration, no milestone moment, no signal from the universe saying you're actually winning. And yet, they are. Meanwhile, someone else, probably earning a similar income, is convinced they're doing fine. Upgraded apartment, sharp wardrobe, social media that looks like a travel magazine, and $900 in savings. This is the great financial illusion of our time. The people who look like they're getting rich usually aren't, and the people who actually are, you'd never know it by looking at them. Today, I'm going to show you 6 specific signs that you're secretly building real wealth, even if your life feels completely ordinary right now, because most people never recognize these signs in themselves. They keep waiting to feel rich before they believe they're on the right track, but the feeling always comes last. The behavior comes first. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now. We talk about money, psychology, and the real gap between people who build lasting financial security and people who stay stuck no matter how much they earn. It's free, and every video will leave you with something worth thinking about. Now let's get into the 6 signs. Sign 1. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is actually growing. Most people treat their income as a ceiling for their spending. Whatever comes in eventually goes out. And this pattern doesn't fix itself when income goes up. The spending just rises to meet the new number. But you've created a gap. Your spending sits noticeably below your income. And that margin is the single most powerful financial tool that exists. Not a hot stock, not a side hustle. Just the simple fact that you consistently spend less than you make. Nathan earns $78,000 a year and lives on roughly $54,000. That $24,000 difference goes into retirement accounts, an emergency fund, a brokerage account he barely mentions. His car is paid off. His apartment is decent, not impressive. Nothing about him screams financial success. Brandon also earns $78,000. But his expenses have quietly expanded to consume almost everything he brings in. The gym membership, the streaming packages, the nicer neighborhood after his last raise, or the car he financed because he felt he'd earned it. None of those felt like big decisions individually. Together, they've left him with almost no margin. Nathan is building something invisible. Brandon is funding a lifestyle that looks great and costs him his future. Here's a quick challenge. This week, add up what came in over the last 30 days and what went out. If there's a gap, and especially if that gap is growing, you're doing what most people never do. That gap isn't just money. It's options. It's freedom. It's the reason some people at 45 feel financially relaxed, while others at the same income feel completely trapped. Sign 2. You think in years and decades, not weeks and months. There's a mindset that treats every financial decision as a short-term problem. What's the fastest way to make more right now? What investment is trending? What opportunity is blowing up this week? It feels like ambition, but almost nobody builds lasting wealth that way. Nathan doesn't find his investment strategy exciting, and that's exactly the point. Automatic contributions go out every month into a diversified index fund. He set it up once and has changed almost nothing since. When the market dropped sharply during a rough stretch, he didn't move anything. He increased his contributions slightly because his plan told him to keep going. Brandon has been searching for the right opportunity for years, day trading for a few months, a chunk of money into a trending sector a friend recommended, a full exit from the market during a rough period because it felt like the cautious move. Each time, he started over. Each time, and he unknowingly reset the compounding clock. Compounding doesn't reward the most researched decision or the most sophisticated strategy. It rewards the person who shows up consistently over the longest period without interrupting the process. 10 years of boring, automatic, unchanged investing beats 5 years of active, excited, constantly adjusted investing almost every single time. If you're thinking in decades while everyone around you is thinking about next quarter, that patience is not passivity. It is one of the most valuable financial assets a person can develop. Sign 3. A financial emergency doesn't unravel your entire month. Think back to the last time something unexpected cost you money. A car repair, a medical bill, an appliance that quit at the worst moment. Notice how you responded, not just financially, but emotionally. Because that response tells you almost everything about where you actually stand. When you're living without a cushion, every unexpected expense becomes a crisis. The repair goes on a credit card you were paying down. The bill gets deferred. You spend days doing mental math trying to make it all fit. And because you're always recovering from the last emergency, you never get far enough ahead to prevent the next one. Nathan's water heater failed last year. Cost just over $1,100 to replace. He called a plumber, got it handled, and the impact on his week was minimal. Not because he's wealthy in the traditional sense, but because he had a cushion built specifically for moments like this. No debt, no stress spiral, just handled. Brandon had a car repair around the same time, about $950, and went onto a credit card he'd been slowly paying down for nearly 2 years. The real cost wasn't $950. It was $950 plus interest, plus lost momentum, plus the low-grade anxiety that followed him for weeks. A financial buffer doesn't show up in photos. Nobody brags about their emergency fund, but the psychological effect is profound. Emergencies become inconveniences. Inconveniences stop becoming setbacks. And that stability quietly gives you the mental clarity to make better financial decisions everywhere else. Sign 4. When your income went up, your lifestyle didn't automatically follow. At some point recently, your income probably increased. A raise, a better job, a strong season in your business. And here's the question that actually matters. Where did that extra money end up? For most people, lifestyle absorbs it. Not through reckless choices, but through 100 small ones that each feel completely reasonable. The raise feels like permission to get the nicer apartment. The apartment leads to nicer furniture. The furniture leads to hosting more. Hosting more means spending more. 12 months later, the extra income has completely disappeared into a slightly elevated version of the same life. Nathan got a meaningful raise 18 months ago. He upgraded almost nothing. He maxed out his retirement contributions, cleared a small outstanding balance, and added more to his buffer. His day-to-day life looks nearly identical to before the raise. To people around him, it probably looks like he didn't get one. Brandon got a similar increase around the same time. Better apartment because he felt he'd earned it. Newer car. More trips, more dinners. And none of it was unreasonable individually. Together, it consumed the raise entirely within 4 months. The compounding difference between those two responses over 10 years reaches into the hundreds of thousands of dollars in eventual net worth. From the same income increase, handled 2 different ways. When your first instinct after earning more is to think about how to put it to work rather than how to spend it, that is the quiet, consistent behavior of someone building something real. Sign 5. You've genuinely stopped caring what other people are doing with their money. There's a kind of financial anxiety that has nothing to do with your actual situation. It comes entirely from comparison. Your coworker just bought a house. Someone from college is posting photos from abroad. Your neighbor's driveway has a new vehicle in it. And somewhere in the background, a quiet voice whispers, "Am I falling behind?" That voice is expensive because it drives decisions that have nothing to do with your goals and everything to do with someone else's highlight reel. Nathan saw a close friend finance a $62,000 truck recently. His one reaction, he hoped it brought his friend happiness, no envy. No urge to upgrade his own vehicle. His 4-year-old car gets him where he's going. His investment account is growing on schedule. Other people's choices don't change his coordinates. Brandon saw the same truck and spent the following weekend at a dealership. Not because he planned to, not because it fit his situation, but because he couldn't sit comfortably with the idea of being left behind, even though nobody was racing and there was no finish line. That feeling is about to cost him over $600 a month for the next 6 years. And here's today's engagement question. When was the last time you made a financial decision based on what someone else was doing? And looking back, would you make that same choice if you were only considering your own goals? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I read every single one, and I think you'll find you're not alone. When you stop using other people's choices as your measuring stick, you get your own decision-making back. You stop reacting and start building. And that shift, compounded over 5 or 10 years, changes everything. Sign 6. You've stopped explaining why your finances are neat where you want them and started working with what you have. This is the honest one. Housing costs are real. Wage stagnation is real. Student debt is real. Nobody serious is dismissing any of that. But there's a version of acknowledging those challenges that quietly becomes a trap, where the obstacles get so thoroughly documented that they stop being a starting point and become a permanent resting place, where every money conversation ends with a well-rehearsed explanation of why things are the way they are, and an unspoken conclusion that real change isn't possible right now. Nathan lives in a high-cost city. His rent is high. His taxes are high. But instead of spending energy narrating those conditions, he works around them. He splits rent with a roommate and routes the savings directly to investments. He meal preps most of the week. He delayed certain lifestyle upgrades until his foundation was stronger. He doesn't talk about these trade-offs. He just made them. Brandon, same city, a similar income, has a different relationship with the difficulty. He'll walk you through exactly why saving is hard here. The rent, the loans, the cost of everything. He's not wrong about the challenges, but he's using them as an explanation for inaction rather than constraints to think creatively around. 5 years from now, the distance between those two men won't look like a difference in luck. It will look like a difference in ownership. Ownership doesn't mean pretending everything is easy. It means deciding that regardless of what you can't control, you will take full responsibility for every variable you can. Your spending, your saving habits, the systems you build or fail to build, the decisions you make today about where next month's money goes. When you own your financial life that completely, you start seeing options that were invisible before. Small changes compound in ways that feel almost unfair, in the best direction. And the story you tell about money shifts from something happening to you into something you are deliberately, quietly building. These 6 signs won't make the news. Nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you you're doing it right. There's no certificate for maintaining a spending gap, no award for ignoring lifestyle inflation, no recognition for keeping your contributions going when the market drops. But here's what I want you to carry with you. The absence of any dramatic signal that you're winning is not evidence that you aren't. It is, in fact, exactly what this process is supposed to feel like from the inside. Quiet, slightly boring, occasionally uncertain, and completely worth it. And if even 2 or 3 of these signs are true for you right now, you are already doing what the majority of people, at every income level, never figure out. You're making the right choices before they feel rewarding. You're building something real before it's visible. Keep going. And if this video gave you something useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We drop new content every week on money, mindset, and the real psychology behind why some people build financial freedom while others stay stuck no matter how much they earn. Hit the notification bell so you never miss one. I'll see you in the next video.